Welcome back to the PPC Community Broadcast. My name is Merlo, and with me joining us today, Kresnik TV, not the tech caster, but the best caster.
Oh, I'll see who I can fight for that spot on the throne there. And I know you warned me ahead of time. I had to accept any accolades you threw at me today, but I still feel a little weird about it. But I'm excited to have you back here, Merlo, after yesterday. I think you did a hell of a job breaking down the games for your first day back on, and I'm sure me and everyone in chat is just as excited to see you back on.
I mean, I wouldn't vouch for that. Still getting used to it. Again, for the people who don't know about me, I'm Italian Merlo. I come from the far land of Italy, and English is my second language actually. So it's a little bit difficult to do play. I know that the accent is there though, but it's a little bit hard, harder than usual to do play-by-play and be consistent. But it's going to be a little bit better today. And of course, I'll train harder. I'll be better and better and better because I know I have the spice. It's just, the terms, the fact that I actually have to translate with my dumb brain from Italian to English and give it back to you guys.
Yeah, but Merlo, I think you did one hell of a job, and I think you're gonna do fine here in your native region of EU, because we're gonna start things off with Celestial versus mixalazeub. And these two teams, I mean, Mix were looking so promising when we were in those relegations, like the very start when they were kind of fighting for their place. But Celestial have looked, I think, pretty far improved. I was a little worried about how they were gonna kind of come out at the start of this phase when they looked a little shakier, but improvement, I think, from the start to now. In mixalazeub, they have a lot to prove against this team. On this, I will quickly throw us into the map ban really quickly, so you can maybe take us in a pick ban afterwards. But Celestial, they banned Shattered Desert and Warder's Gate, and mixalazeub banned Frog Isle and Bazaar. So a lot of kind of wide open maps with sniper potential, at least in Frog and Bazaar, taken out. But Stone Keep will be where we want to start, where Celestial, with the first pick this week, want to take us.
It's going to be pretty interesting. I think we're going to jump right back into bans and picks. And let's find out, because yesterday we got a lot of Stone Keeps matchups. And of course, everybody was rolling snipers, though. Of course, you want to run blasters up into the high ground, or you want to go with snipers, more or less, hit scanners. We saw a lot of Strix. We even saw a Kinessa doing up a quadra kill during those matchups. But then again, they are falling a little bit out of meta, because you have so many strong opponents and matchups that you can play, and Andraxis is going to be banned. Atlas 2, Vivian and Victor, of course. You still have so many good picks. You still have got Eevee. You still got Zin if you want to run for flanks. Janus is available. Ruckus. Oh, that's pretty interesting, because now they want to run that verticality. And let's see what's going to happen for Mixala. They got Inara, of course, because it's basically the tank for this meta. Oh. It's a super standard pick. Oh, okay, it's gonna be Corvus.
No, I clicked the wrong box. It was supposed to be Corvus right below him, but we'll just flip the script here. Mixalazeub, apparently they like Corvus a little bit more, according to me, clicking on the wrong thing there. But it makes sense to prioritize that. The one thing that might be surprising to you is that Ruckus that early. This is kind of an EU specific thing. They just love these aggressive off tanks that they can go in and kind of rain hell around with. Ashe to pair up with it too, so two very aggressive tanks making space and going in, and I think a good DPS to pair with that would be what they pick here. That Maeve, someone that can go really aggressive, use the Midnight to engage, so a really aggressive start for Celestial here in Mix. They need something that can live through an aggressive dive if they want to have a chance against this team.
I think Cassie is going to be a given for Mixala, because you want to try to at least soften up the blow from Midnight. And for me, the Ashe is going to be super strong, of course. They have a pretty good setup for Celestial, and of course, Cassie is going to come up with her ultimate. And of course, she's a pretty decent DPS. She's going to be able to snipe from across the map. And she has the knockback, so that's pretty much a lot of potential to just counteract each and every one engagement. Of course, you got Grover, Deep Roots, you have everything set up, and you got Strix. So even in EU, from what I can gather, they want to roll snipers, and Strix, that's a pretty good choice right now. Janus, of course.
Yeah, I mean, Strix specifically can be played almost anywhere. If you hit quickscopes with him, he's basically just hit scan Shaolin. That's all he really ends up being when you connect everything, maybe without the cripple ability there. But them ending with Genos, to me, screams we're just playing to win this fight immediately. If our dive doesn't instantly kill someone on your team, we probably lose. But pair a Ruckus and Maeve, a Strix who can stealth in and kind of run on the dive. mixalazeub, they need someone who can live through that level of pressure. And I guess Buck can do that. Buck can jump away. Buck can bulk up in their face and hope that's enough. Definitely not going to be playing that bounce house. I think Genos very effective at stopping that leap. If he catches him in midair, it's going to be difficult for that Buck to get away, because if you get caught mid-leap, you can't leap again. Your leap gets straight up canceled, and then you just kind of float, have to pray that your team can peel out for you. So tough, I'd say, playing that Buck into the Genos, but it's definitely doable. They just have to put the Buck far enough away, because Celestial is going to be running them down all game.
100%, and I think Celestial will base everything onto that Ruckus, because of course we know Ruckus as a pick. You just want to go, full kamikaze onto the enemy backline, try to trade at least 2 kills for 1, and then they have the cleanup crew with Strix and all the others, and Neve, of course. So we're going to see if he's going to survive, if Genos will be able to pick him up, and if the others are going to be able to clean up the mess and try to get those last 2 to 3 kills, and then, get the point and be able to push. I think it's going to be easier to take the point and take those kills than to actually push, because of course you got Inara, you got Walls, you got Cassie, Grover with the deep roots. It's going to be super, super hard, especially against, of course, high ground. But I think we're ready to go into the game itself. And then there you go.
Yeah, we're able to slide right in and take a look at these talents and loadouts, which I just started showing here because I feel like there's no reason for me not to. And I can show you the items on the rollout, excuse me. As we go here. I'm a little concerned about how they're going to find a way to dive in. I'm more thinking, I think Celestial have to take and control the high ground. They have to be able to hold that space. Because if they're on the low, they're not going to be able to get on them as effectively. But Nyx know that, so they're going to match them there. And only Tutu is meeting them in front of the entire team, but causing enough of a distraction now for maybe something else to happen.
Indeed, right now we see Ruckus alone on Church, and he's going to die pretty easily. The first blood is going to come for Ash, completely picked off from the rest of the team. They got the first kill, and we need to see what they're going to do, because Vive has no opening to actually jump in and go, because Genos, yeah, he's there, but he needs to support the entire team. Ruckus is going to try to take a Carver's down, but he gets shot down in the process by Grover. It's going to be interesting for Strix right now to try to get a kill. The cleanup crew with Neve, and the point is still 60% for Mixa, though.
Yeah, Petra was able to go fight on the point, but that's just kind of what you do with Inara. You'll accept that you'll have this cap time, but sometimes you have to give it up to peel for your team, and they just chose to get that cap time instead to deny a refight if they get it. But with them all grouped up in this banana, they know that they're there, because every flashbang might open up this engagement, and here comes Tutu.
Indeed, we see Rockets right now. Oh, he has a clean shot onto the Grover. He needs to escape. He cannot do that, but he basically took a lot of time and a lot of tempo for his team. Selestial Esports are there trying to cap as fast as possible. Right now, mixalazeub having a little bit of a trouble. Princess Picha just captured the point. There was no contesting at all. That's interesting, and that's a little bit unexpected.
I think it's because Petra got the DR cooldown forced earlier, so right before they were about to touch, they were able to actually get it knocked back by the Ash. Closar guaranteeing that cap for them, and this aggressive push kind of faltering for them here on the side of Celestial. Closar completely surrounded and should be falling pretty soon.
Nice. Ash tried to jump away, but of course they body blocked her. Then that's another kill. That's pretty useful for them. Strix is going to be in a very tough spot, and it's going to get shut down pretty easily. And we're going to see what's going to happen with Ruckus against Cassie. Just flew away. They have Inara all by herself. Comes through time and space. There's no kill. And yep, they're going to reset right now with the wall.
And look at the aggression. They're grouped up, and I really don't know how I feel about that into a Ruckus. I feel like it gives him so much missile value. And when they have to split up, Tutu will just find a hole with the Hexafire, finds 2.
And he's going to go for the third one. Grover in such a bad spot right now. Meave, there you go. The cleanup crew. Buck is the last one. He's going to go with a double kill. That's pretty amazing. There you go. They completely unlocked the push. And now they need to snipe them down and push them back into base, which they're going to do right now. As you can see, the shots are coming. They're ready to go.
Motev held back on his shots to try to get his triple, and Tutu stole it from him anyway. With this board, I want to see what ultimates they want to spend. I'd expect a Sir Dominance to come out here maybe, because they have a lot of time early here, but look at what they're doing. They spend now forward just to fight this Ruckus, and Ruckus is just winning this engagement.
Indeed, he's gonna tank it all, you know, and right now the trade went pretty good for him. We see Inara against B, he's trying to block her, and she just jumps away. There's no counterplay here. She still has a wall, but on the other side, they have everything else to shut her down. You see Strix right now onto the high ground, ready to go against the Buck. Buck is very low, but they're pushing and taking the point. It's gonna be a pretty clean 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, Buck has to choose one way to go, hoping that maybe someone else can come fight the point, because he's one of the only ones who can actually really contest that Strix. So he makes that movement, gets onto Slop, finds the kill, but trades a lot of his health pool for it. Can't also go and contest that point, so it just ends up being a tough decision that now had to make. And unfortunately, I don't think anything he could have done could have flipped that fight on its head there. But a lot of ultimates saved by Celestial because of that. They have asserted dominance. They're close to midnight. And Slop, I'm pretty sure he's running. I'm going to check on the roll-up, but I'm pretty sure he's running either some level of Roost or he's having an insane game because he had that flashbang pretty quickly last time. Mix, I think they started that fight okay. They just have to have Petra peel off of the point a little bit faster to help the rest of the team.
They have sustain and survivability. They just need to use that, and of course, try to roll as much as possible together. Because right now, the only problem really is the Rockets, and you can shut him down pretty easily. But he's still all trading 1-to-1 every single time you're healer. Yes, you have a Corvus, but it's not going to be enough. And right now, we see Strix trying to get a kill. I guess this is an Ara with, of course, the Ruckus. They got the control. They got the taunt. Oh my God, the disrespect is real right now. Of course, Buck is trying to pick up the pace. And he's gonna go against Genos. He sees him, he sees the shots, but he needs to go back onto the Ruckus because right now he's been such a pain to deal with.
Yeah, the taunt was smart. The taunt was just to see around the corner in a way that you can counter early without having to peek with how low health he was there. This is actually unfortunate. The Strix rolls back out, gets them low, and they're engaging right now as Celestial off this midnight.
The mid-range is there, but of course you got Cassie to counteract, and it's gonna be as bad, but still it's gonna take and give a plenty of opportunity for Ruckus to just go in and trade with his ultimate against an Inara, and it's the only thing you can do against Inara because she's such a tanky monster right now. Grover is going to follow up with the Buck. They're going to try to take a kill, at least a snipe onto this Genos, but they're not going hard as they should because right now the point is at 93%. Need to take it back easily and fast.
Yeah, and
there's a pause.
There's a pause. They're going to take a little second to think about, I guess, how they want to run this through. Fix, I'm assuming, some level of technical difficulties on the side of Celestial, assuming the pause. But I have an idea of the game state right now with it right in front of me. Closar's the only one on the point, and he's the one who paused. Everyone else on mixalazeub is stacked around him with the rest of his team kind of on the respawn. Only one who's out is the one who crashed, it seems like, the Maeve. With Ruckus coming back, they might actually have a chance to keep the fight going if enough people are distracted by Closar. I don't think that's impossible to have happen. Closar is kind of in the core of their team, 64% already to that assert dominance. So definitely a chance to make it work, and we can head back into game. See exactly what happens. Time to crash on him, but not much else.
Yeah, not much else indeed. They basically pointed everything onto the Ruckus, and you saw that much priority on him, and it's actually working out pretty well for them. Because, yeah, they're making plays, they're making trades. But right now, of course, the point is going to go for a Mixa. They're going to try to set up the action right now with Cassie onto the higher side. As you can see, she's trying to play buff on Nara, trying to take a little bit of a snipe right here. She just wants to enter and find the occasion and block someone off with the wall, but Ruckus doesn't care. Just goes in, guns blazing. He's going to take a Corvus right now. That's a second kill. He's going to go for a third one. Nope. Ash is still alive, but... Ash just got killed, and they need to reset right now.
I like the use of the Entropic Breach, and the fact that the Corvus was able to spend it instead of holding on to it to find those kills, I think helps significantly. Trading those two out, maybe it could have helped the fight turn since they got that Ruckus, but losing the healer in the process makes things very difficult. And Celestial's making things hard for Mix, too, with the way Slop is playing this. How do you find him this early in the game without Illuminate? He runs back to his team. Tactical Retreat 5 makes him move so fast. Find someone isolated inside.
Oh my god, look at that Neva. She's running risky moves, and right now we see the Grover's not going to go down. Over and over and over, Cassie gets herself a double kill, and they're ready to roll right now. There's no way they can push this card, even though it's a minute and 17. They need a little bit more kills to unlock the situation. Grover chasing down the Ruckus. Nothing will come from it. Strikes on the other side. Gets a double kill, but still, it's not enough. The game is pretty much set in stone. They're not moving at all. They need a little bit more pace to actually get that payload onto the final stretch.
Uber Spady on this Cassie has been really hard for them to deal with. They finally get a trade out, but looks like it just stalls the fight for a moment. Pressure still on from this Buck. Disengaged for now, and might see a reset. Pekka might be looking to push soon.
41 seconds to go, and you still have a Midnight onto your side to use against Mixalazeub. And yeah, they're gonna have a problem right now because, of course, they have so many tools to just deal with Inara and everybody else. So you see Strix also trying to as nice much as possible. You're gonna see right now a little bit of juking going on, and probably a double shot, and he can take a kill against this Cassid. That's the first one. He's gonna go for the second one, and there you go. 1v1 easily won by the Strix. Goes for the second kill, goes for the third one against, of course, this Inara. Cleanup crew comes in, and it's gonna be a 3-2-1 for Celestial Esports.
Yeah, for sure. There's no way they can retouch here. And you can see why Strix is so powerful. I mean, you have to itemize into Illuminate just to have a chance against him in some of these fights, right? The Cassie dives him, and he just runs around and is tanking in this damage department. Not tanking's the wrong word, but you can look at that 90,000 damage dealt by this Strix so far, who they just can't really do anything to. They have to just, maybe, what do they do at this point? Ignore him and fight another side of the map? I feel like that's almost counterproductive and won't help them in the long run here. But I like how what we're seeing out of Toot on this Ruckus, maybe seeing why he's valued as much as he is in Europe, getting on these back lines, almost always trading, and sometimes that's enough. You take out their healer, protect yours, and it's a lot harder for them to win that engagement. Even with 2 healers on their side, get rid of 1, and you're taking a big resource out of the fight.
Indeed, that's a big chunk, and of course, I think you need to shift gear right now and change and flip the script. And with Ruckus actually try to get that kill onto the enemy, you know, Grover each and every time. But yeah, you should also focus the Buck, because he's the only one who can really take a kill on Strix right now, because he's super careful. And as you can see, Strix just keeps doing damage and damage over and over and over. He's unstoppable, and there's no control for him.
Have it right now, they just can't find him. And look at this, Uber just can't even get up the stairs to get to him. He's so afraid he's gonna get blasted as soon as he moves over there with Celestial. In full control, but they haven't gotten rid of everyone just yet, and they find Ubers.
And that's an incredible strategy, because of course, if Strix takes you down with the first shot, you're gonna get cleaned up by me. So it's gonna be so hard for them to actually try to resist against so much damage and so much pressure. But I need to, because right now, this is the last point. It's gonna be a matchup. It's gonna be a match. There you go. No mounts for them. No redeployable available. It's going to be 90%. It's going to be clean. Super clean for them.
Get it back in, though. They have this touch right now, but Celestial's still winning the side fights. We'll see what Princess Pekka can do.
Look at the Genos. Basically a hit scan healer, you know. He's just doing damage, taking headshots, and he still has an ultimate for time and space. And they're set in stone for a spotless victory.
Yeah, Celestial, I mean, one fight won by mixalazeub. Maybe someone crashed during that, but Celestial still kind of felt like they were in control the majority of the time during that game. Didn't even need that time and space near the end to really cement things and guarantee the dub for them. We can take a look at the stats for that one and see exactly what things looked like at the end. I think Ubers being at the top of the damage charts for his team isn't very surprising to me. I feel like he was putting on a fantastic performance on that Cassie. But Strix, so little, he took less damage than the passive support on mixalazeub. He was just impossible to deal with, tripling damage dealt compared to damage taken. You can just see what Strix can do, even on maybe not necessarily the first map you go to in your head when you think sniper. If he's good enough to hit quickscopes, it doesn't matter. He's just as good in close range as he is at long range.
Definitely, they needed more tools to deal with him. I don't know why Buck was not focusing as hard as he should, because of course he was making plays and basically unlocking the whole map for the rest of the team. But of course, as you saw before, Cassie was super afraid to get double shot from him. And so, yeah, Tutu did an incredible job, because the whole focus of the entire team was on him. And he was trading blows left and right, as you can see from his kills. Those 13 kills and 13 deaths. So he went in every single time, got a kill on Grover, and then just died. But that's done. You basically took a whole chunk and the whole strategy out of the enemy team. So Mixa didn't have much choice to actually switch targets at that time.
No, I get that they had Grover and Corvus, so the damage potential maybe not as high. But when one of your players is getting as many kills as 3 of your other players combined, in a draft like that, where I feel like it should be more evenly spread out, I mean, you have to maybe find a way to get in. You mentioned that Buck not being able to pressure that Strix, but at the end of the day, how does he, right? He can try his best. He can try to jump into the back line and pressure in and get on him, but if that Genos is playing safe, he can get gripped out of his leap like we mentioned before. Even if he gets onto him, Strix just stealths and runs away at 50% bonus speed, and Buck is now like, all right, well, I'm in the back line. I got no range. I got no movement. I'm just in the sad zone at this point. And that's why Strix can't be so impactful as long as you have a team that's playing around him properly.
Indeed, and of course you need the right map, and Stonekeep time and time again has shown off that basically you can run a Strix and it's going to be pretty successful unless you have a Nevi on your side or Androxus that can basically counter effectively and just soar and cross the entire map in less than 2 seconds. Yeah, you're going to have a pretty easy time. Yeah. But I think we're ready for game 2, and what's the second map, my man?
Well, I will say that we're not ready completely yet. That was me typing in Twitch chat actually instead of typing in the thing I should have been typing in. But it was I do have the next map available, and that will be Bright Marsh. So mixalazeub after that, they want to take it to Bright, which is kind of surprising to me. I felt like, again, they never felt completely in control of that game in my opinion. And Bright Marsh is a map that can get kind of snowballed very quickly. I feel like if you lose that first mid, it can kind of just roll in and you can lose that in the blink of an eye, so that might make it a little more difficult for them to go there. But it's a flat map. Maybe they have something specific in mind for it, where they want to catch out Celestial by banning out those same DPS characters again. But we can now head into the picks and bans and take a look at what mixalazeub want to bring on Bright Marsh.
Of course, Bright Marsh, is a definition of box map for the first half. Of course, you need to take the point. You got so many doors and entrances where you can, place a DPS or a flank, and it's going to be effective. But we saw many times and times again that ROM actually is kind of a king in this kind of map, because the solution after you take the point is to just run through the enemy and, take a kill or two, or just disband them and, gain tempo. If you want to say that, you definitely have the high ground on the defense side, especially onto the last stretch. But usually it's never enough, and the verticality is going to be key if you want to have like a very successful push. So it's going to be Inara as a first pick for a Mixala. Of course, Inara, the best tanks in the game, followed closely by Ashe. And there you go. We still have the same composition, so it's going to be once again an incredible matchup, because you also need to think about that Ashe can just go down, with her ultimate. Ruckus can reposition easily and just snipe them all down, over and over again. You're going to have Genos and Meave, of course. So what do you think about these two picks in particular on Bright Marsh? This is the first time we see them.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting.
There, of course.
It's also paired with Inara, which we don't see as much. I think it can work personally when you have a good triple DPS comp or a strong Inara player. I think that's definitely a playable composition, of course. The Maeve, I feel like it's almost a takeaway, right? I feel like they're just taking it away from Celestial after what Otev was able to do last game. I understand that Strix still exists. Unless mixalazeub go for that, then they're still going to be staring down the barrel of Slopodopoulos on the sniper, but they want to get rid of what was confirming his damage, right? If they get shot, maybe they think they can hide and run away and get the ability to re-heal, maybe a little bit harder with Genos. But the Maeve was the one that was running in and finding the follow-up on all the shots he was able to land.
Exactly. It was the cleanup crew, as I said before. And with Shaolin, that's going to be pretty interesting and useful because, of course, of Crippling Blow, you're going to have so much control against the Maeve. We just need to figure out where to put the Shaolin because, of course, if you're going to be inside of the buildings, you can snipe easily from across the map. But you need to be onto Maeve's face to...
Well, Merlo, I'm just going to let you know that you have disappeared into space and time very quickly. Not sure what happened in Discord. Oh, you're back. I'm
here.
Chat can tell you. You hit two, and it straight out Discord.
Okay.
Discord gave up on you. But this is perfect because you know what it was. This is the Paladins gods giving me a chance to talk about Dredge, which I didn't get to do yesterday. The reason you picked Dredge here instead of Bomb King or these other blasters is because of his self-sustain. That's what Dredge has that the other blasters don't really have. Dredge, when you play Hurl, which is, in my opinion, the talent you want to be going most of the time, you're getting 400 health every single time you hit someone with a harpoon. It also stacks if you hit multiple people at once, so you can heal yourself for quite a bit. Plus, you give yourself 250, if you're built that way, health per second when you stand next to your shortcut. That stacks up to, combined with the generous thing, you're getting almost, without cauterize, 1,000 health per second. You are very hard to dive. Plus, if you have a teleporter placed in the right spot, you can warp out as well. Is it the best pick here? Probably not. Looking at their composition, he's going to be under a lot of pressure. It depends on how comfortable this Dredge player is. If he's placing shortcuts in good positions, then he can get away from these dives. That's probably the hardest thing to know about Dredge, though. You have to be pre-placing these teleporters so far in advance that you're not necessarily... Sometimes you're just not thinking about it. You just want to do damage. That's what Dredge does. And then you go, I need to get out of here. I can't. And then you die.
I can't.
That's the Dredge way.
And the problem is where you're going to actually put it. It's going to be very specific and very important because, of course, you can get stuck up in a building. And that happens lots of time with any DPS onto this map. I personally don't like Dredge. I find him very, very useful into Ice Mines or Stone Keep because, of course, you have like a super giant blaster that can basically control everything. But also, we have a Koga, and I want you to tell me why, since he's falling off a little bit. So
I thought that was all you were going to say. I want you to tell me why.
Why? Just why?
The reason Koga gets picked because he's a great pair with these pockets. He gets that Corvus mark. The lifesteal really plays well into his build. And he can also get aggressive on a map that's kind of compressed like this one. We can head into game and we'll take a look at exactly how things are going to be looking for him. And you know what, Merlot? I know I'm going back to this because Dredge is my baby. I'm going to change your mind on Dredge. Don't think of Dredge as much as a blaster. Dredge, I don't see him. I see him more as a backline, more like a Cassie or a Victor or something like that. When you run Hurl specifically, when you run Hurl, you effectively have infinite Leon presence. So that big damage shot that Leon does that pierces, he does the exact same damage as her. It pierces multiple targets and it has no cooldown.
Give him no quarter.
That's what you play Dredge for. You play him for infinite Leon presence. But unfortunately now he's gone Scuttle, so they have no range. So unlucky.
Unlucky indeed. That was excellent theory crafting, but yeah, we're just gonna jump into the game right now, and we see that Koga is trying to snipe as hard as he can against the enemy flank, and yeah, we're gonna see what's gonna happen because right now there's not a first blood, but Inaro is all by herself onto the point. The first blood is gonna come right now. Charlene takes the second one, and as you can see, Tutu doing God's work right now. Already jumping onto the nice verticality and high ground, and he's gonna take control of the entire side of the map. And nobody's going to go past him.
Yeah, they can't really walk through. Slop is doing a great job zoning as well, dismounting everybody here. Slop rocking the sticks, dismounting in Europe. And no one's... That early dismount will really hurt the Sonara. I'll take a look and see if she can get close, but look at all these people in the way. Close are potentially body blocking. Oh, they're going to let her on, but...
And that's 3 people on her.
Happen.
Yeah, too many people on her, and she just got spotted. They're still trying to trade against the Ruckus, but the kills are coming in and coming fast. Koga right now goes down for the double kill, and he's gonna go for a triple right now pretty easily. There you go. They cannot stop him at all, and right now they have a full advantage onto this push. It's gonna be a snowball.
Yeah, I do love seeing Koga's use Skewer, wasting all their energy just to follow up with that multi-kill. I gotta give Slop props for that, honestly, willing to get that aggressive there with this. But again, the pressure can stay on, and Koga can get away with this unless he doesn't see the Dredge coming around the side. They're just lucky it's a trade for now.
Indeed, and right now Dredge is trying to do as much damage as possible, trying to take a little bit of space right now, but of course, we saw Koga before, we need to watch it even closely again. It's going to be interesting to witness. He's going to jump back into the fight in less than a couple of seconds. Right now, Cassian trying to snipe from onto the high ground. And as I said before, of course, you have the high ground. You have the possibility, to control a great deal of the map. But it's not going to be enough because the kills are coming. And right now, we saw Ash take the first one. We're going to go with the second one right now pretty easily. There you go with the Dredge's ultimate. Ash is going to try to survive as much as possible. Cassie is going to be in a really tough spot against the Koga, but she comes victorious against the 1v1. And they're continuing to defending. The last stretch is going to come up pretty easily, and it's going to be 1:20 before they start and regroup again.
Salvadopoulos is trying to just live on this island here, but Uber Spady, I should be watching him because he's just kind of running rampant in the back. The fights haven't really stopped. We've seen a little bit of a mismatch, some people getting aggressive, and the Assert Dominance getting forced out by the Kraken coming out from now. I like the idea behind that, but the fact that they were so split meant that no one could really follow up. But Celestial have plenty of ultimates in the pocket to be used, and they might even open it up with a pick. Early find on Ubers.
Indeed, there you go. And now we have a midnight available in case they want to split them up. But there you go. Dredge takes another one for the team. Right now, Koga trying to find his space, but it's going to be a little bit difficult this time around because they're pretty much all tangled up into the respawn. And they're ready to pick each and every building. And Koga, of course, you know, is able to take them from behind. Rocket's going to go for another kill. Dredge is trying to do damage as possible. Yeah, there you go with the trade-in. Koga against the Cassie. He doesn't want to go in super deep, but he's like taking a lot of space. And they're gonna go 2-0 pretty easily against them. Yeah, that was pretty easy when Koga unlocked it. I think Koga like is really carrying the match right now.
I agree that I think Slop is doing a lot. I mean, look at Otep, though. Otep has quite a bit of damage that he's being able to follow up on. My biggest problem there, I mean, look at what Ubers did. Ubers was like, he just did the Maeve thing. He's like, all right, guys, I'm going to jump up. I'm going to look over this thing and see what's going on the other side. He went up with 1 pounce and died before he even disappeared. That is not a long time to burn someone from full to dead, but that must have been a shot from Otep, a missile from Toot, and they couldn't find anything else from it, so unfortunate that they threw that pick away. Uber should have been so safe, but Celestial, they read him like a book, and really that's what opened the door, I think, for me in that fight.
They still got many resources. They're ready to go. Let's just see what's going to happen right now. Rakas tried to peek a little bit, of course, with the mount. The midnight can get popped off. And Kathy is trying to get a kill right now. As we can see, Neve, of course, she found the Shaolin. And we see Rakas trying to trade once again against an Inara. Inara is going to go down pretty easily. Shaolin actually took a kill against the Cassie. We see the follow-up, but that's a double kill, and the entire team fell down for mixalazeub. That's going to be an easy point for them to control, because Selestial Esports now they have the full map at their disposal.
Yeah, Celestial, I love their mids. I feel like they're just constantly catching out Mix. And look at this, Pekka, again, dies early, has to be the one to go to point and takes half of their health and damage. Just can't touch his objective. And if I were them, I'd give it up. Maybe now can get a good Kraken on it, but I don't even know if that's possible with the timing that they have.
Indeed. Now let's go for the last stretch. It's going to be 87% with an ultimate from Corvus, and that's super much control from Celestial. They just threw themselves in. Of course, you got to do that, but with a little bit of control, you have to do it. You know, you have to touch for overtime. But that was a full-on, you know, they got credits, they got ultimates, they got damage in. I think it wasn't worth it.
I agree. You really... Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Do not mind me. I do agree, though. I think you have to make it... Sometimes you have to give it up. You have to just say that, hey, they already have a huge credit advantage. Let's not push it any further forward in their favor. But unfortunate that they made that attempt. Pekka, once you got knocked to half health, you just say, all right, let's not give it up at this point. Yeah. Let's just hold back. But now they're still sitting in a stalemate, Celestial. Ubers has to be careful. He made the same mistake before. And look, Toot actually came around the backside and caught
Watch out, Tutu is in the back and he's taking kills and taking names, and the card is super unlocked. There's no way they're gonna stop this. There goes another kill. There goes another ultimate shot into the sky from Cassie. That was pretty spicy coming up from her, and the payload just stopped right now because they need to basically regroup and try to use a couple of ultimates because it's the last stretch and they have this in the bag. It seems like it.
And I mean, they have a couple they can spend. Still the assert dominance. Thankfully, they got saved by them, so they can do it. And again, Uber's the first one to go down. Has to be more careful, but the door's open.
Ooh. You saw Rakas going to the behind the scene. Ash takes a very easy kill with a right click. Right now, they're ready to go. The knockback was there, and they're just blasting through. Dredge is all alone by himself. There's nothing they can do. They pushed, and it's gonna be a super clean 4-0. Wow, that was fast. That was like super fast on Brad March.
Maybe I get why teams are banning Ruckus, I guess. I mean, it feels like he's opening the door for every single attempted push that they're trying to do. Nothing really changed in the draft for Celestial, I feel like. They got the same MO. I mean, they had Koga instead of the Maeve, but at the end of the day, they still had the same basic concept. Long range, burst damage, direct damage, and then a flanker that can actually move in aggressively and follow up on all this. And I'm going to see if the stats end up telling the same story between
who needs a flank? Who needs a flank anymore when you have a tank with so much damage capabilities onto your back? Like, basically, they're running into the ground. And as I said before, it's a kamikaze build. As soon as you take one kill, you're good to go. You did your job. You unlocked the whole point, and you're turning heads. People are going to snipe onto the back because they want to counter you as fast as possible because you have such a huge health pool. So, yeah, it's working pretty great so far.
Yeah, I'd agree. And honestly, you were talking about tanks doing damage, and Klosar not only top fragging, but actually out damaging Slapodopoulos on this Koga, who I think struggled against the amount of burst damage that's there. Definitely one of the reasons why Koga has struggled in the past, when you have any character who can just wait out your final dash and take you down that way. Great way to get caught out. But Princess P.E.K.K.A. on this Inara, I mean, it was first picked, and it really struggled. I mean, yeah, we don't expect the Inara to top damage. We don't expect the Inara to top frag. But getting out, almost getting only 11k separating the Genos and the Inara. Genos, one of the lowest damaging supports. Definitely a tough one. You don't really want to see that. And P.E.K.K.A. being the highest death count as well, all doesn't add up. Inara, with the Genos boost, should be able to get aggressive, but P.E.K.K.A. really couldn't find much value out of it.
They need to flip the script right now. So what do? You could ban Ruckus, but there are so many other picks you can actually do. Or is there a counter you can actually use against him? Like something that, makes you trade a little bit better. Because they tried it with Dredge. At least you have a little bit more control onto the point. But it wasn't enough.
I think the Cassie was a decent call on it. A big game Cassie can do a great job into that Ruckus. I think it's just a combination of giving up Ruckus, giving up Ashe, and them having the Corvus to back it up. It's just more of the weight of everything coming in at once that I think really made things too difficult to deal with. But mixalazeub, they seem like... I have a feeling they think they found the answer just because they're going to Jaguar Falls next. That map is similar enough to Brightmarsh where I don't feel like you want to go there after losing a game like that on Brightmarsh, unless you're like super confident about what you're going to be playing with. We have picks and bans, so we'll take a look and see if mixalazeub have actually figured it out.
If they banned Ruckus, they did.
And
but let's check it out. Yeah, there you go. it was such a strong
as fast as I could.
It was such a strong presence, and right now Jaguar Forest, of course, it's one of those maps when you have like a regular map. It has a little bit of everything. You got high ground, you got buildings. You can hide pretty easily if you're a Genos or just a Maldamba who wants to right click. You have plenty of opportunities, and of course, the bans are going to be the same for Celestial, Andraxis, and Atlas. So at this point, they can pick an Inara, Rom is banned. You can go with a Terminus. Ashe, of course, yeah, because she's super strong also. They got Vivian out. So Vivian is available, and let's see if Celestial, if they're going to go with that.
I like the way that they started this, right? Because they banned 2 aggressive off-tanks. They take the 3rd aggressive off-tank. But again, Vivian and Victor, they both get by. I doubt Celestial will take both. I mean, you can on this map, but they only have 1 controller DPS, so I think you can stay flexible with your keyboard DPS, maybe pick up a blaster later in the draft if that's the angle you want to take with it. But Vivian and Inara, I think a lethal pair, especially on Jaguar Falls. Vivian very hard to dive on this map. I think she puts on a lot of ability to deny pressure, and I don't really know what mix will take into her. Terminus is an option, as we know.
Yeah.
Willow too. Blastflower under the shield. We saw Willow's winning trades earlier yesterday in the PPC. Indeed. Willow always traded her life, but mixalazeub, if they draft a comp where that's enough, we could maybe see it work out.
I wouldn't be surprised, of course, if a Maldamba comes up and the Genos onto the other side. But of course, you still have the possibility to run and roll a Terminus against Vivian, because the absorb, you can absorb projectiles and, just give them back. And it's such a huge tool to have at your disposal, especially inside the building or when you're trying to, jump from left to right. And Genos is going to come up for Celestial, of course. Mead, of course. Yeah, that's a pretty solid pick right there. So let's see if they're going to roll with Terminus or with a little bit of flanker to, pair up with Willow instead. It's going to be Shaolin as their, choice and pick, and it's good, of course. We said times and times again, Crippling Arrow, you can control Mead pretty easily. But what's going to be the next one? And that's going to be a Terminus. Yeah, that's a great potential, great tool. Of course, now they effectively, Mix has effectively 3 tanks at their disposal, because Terminus dies, then respawns, and he's back at it again, to try to counter the enemy team. And what do you think about the compositions in general? They're pretty standard. They're pretty solid on both sides. You think it's going to get changed anything?
I think Willow Shaw is a decent DPS comp. I maybe would have liked to see the Cassie come out instead of the Shaolin. I still think Shaolin is valuable, but I don't know if I would give it over the Cassie. Pip, it's Jaguar Falls. It's a classic Pip map, and I think they just want a little bit of extra healing to supplement the Inara. I think they want something that can actually keep that Inara kind of going in some of the fights, because we just saw Inara Genos collapse mixalazeub. So Celestial, they say, all right, we'll get that Inara, we'll get that Genos, and we'll get a blaster that's kind of fallen out of meta, but you don't have a single hit scan. There's nothing to abuse Pip's massive headshot hitbox. You only have projectiles, and we'll get maximum value out of Pip.
And his ultimate is going to be really game-changing inside team fights because, of course, everybody's a chicken. And when you're a chicken, you don't have weapons. You cannot fight back. Of course, Pip also has great mobility, and he can basically use that high ground, to just move around and being very hard to hit. I think the amount of effort you have to use to actually, have a good Pip into your team, you can use it for something else. But right now, as you said before, there's no counter. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be incredible to witness. So I'm super excited to jump into Game 3.
Yeah, me too. I definitely want to bring us in there and take a look at the builds they're going to have. It looks like Decimation. I kind of hope Princess P.E.K.K.A switches this. I'm kind of a Decimation purist, but I do think that Crush is better, specifically into the Vivian, just because you can shut down her shield in the middle of her using it, deny that cooldown as well, and Paladins not running Suspect Everyone to get those extra resets if it does end up going down. But talent's basically standard. I'm going to hold on this screen just to see if P.E.K.K.A just did the swap at the end, and they don't. So Decimation is going to be the rollout here. Vivian feeling a little bit safer, protected by the team of Celestial.
Let's see how they actually deal with it, and Terminus is going to go onto the left side right now. It's going to be pretty easy for him to go against this Vivian, and the absorption comes up. You see flanks onto the other side, leave, of course, an element of disturb and annoyance onto the backside, and there you go. That's the first kill coming from her. She's ready to go, and ready to snipe whatever she pleases. She sees Ashe right now. That's just jumping onto the back, and we got 42%. And Pip is basically completely controlling the enemy Ashe. I don't know if that's worth it to just chase him up the ladder so hard, because they're losing the point and they're losing it fast.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't know if it was worth it to me, that chase around, but look at this. Devosy's still stuck in the backline. I wanted to come back over just to see. I didn't expect it to be that far away. He might be able to touch now, but they just see him coming. He's not even going to use the dash. I don't think he made it. They even cancel it afterwards.
And there you go. He's going to go for another kill if he's successful. It's a little bit slow right there, but it's okay. He did an amazing job right now. So they got the point, they got the payload, they're ready to roll and start moving. They got 2 minutes and they're already so far ahead because there's no contesting right now. They need to go at least a little bit far ahead onto the high ground, and we're gonna see some action. Terminus right now trying to impose himself, and yeah, what do you think is gonna happen right now?
I mean, I think what's happening right now is not what I expected, with OTEP going deep into the backline and actually trading out a kill. It's 1-for-1, but the pressure's coming in from the other side.
Indeed, and you can see Ashe right now trying to do as much DPS as possible. They're just way up ahead, and they're all backed up into the respawn. It's a pretty classical move in Inara right now, just under the bridge. They have full control right now. They can shut down, mounts. They can basically shoot whatever they want. And the card is already there, and it's 1 minute to spare. That's so much time at your disposal, especially when you have ultimates going on. Inara right now takes another kill. It was just a splash. Willow, she's trying her best to actually control the situation, but it's not going to be enough. And remember, Pip still has the ultimate at his disposal, and it's going to be huge against popped-up enemies.
They have Mr. Dominance in the back too right now. 2 kills actually going the way of mixalazeub. They might be able to defend, but it's all Devozy with no healing on this objective, and Tutu's putting in a lot of damage.
Ooh, Ashe went a little bit overhead, just a bit much of a stretch. Maldamba trying to heal her best. She's actually hiding behind the pillar. Comes from time and space. No kills were found right now. Inara still doing by herself, all alone, 1 versus 1. She tries to get as much time as possible, but they need to find a kill against that Maldamba, and that's the trade right there. And she's still alive. Maldamba actually used the resources, so the ultimate is gone. Not ready for the next round, and they're still getting that card right there and then. Inara gets of course pushed away, but they still got 30 seconds to spare.
Yeah, wait a minute, look at this. Paladins is just behind their team. They might, even without their tanks, still be able to turn this with both DPS alive. These tanks have to find a way to survive.
And as you can see right now, Terminus is going to go down, and that's the spot. That's the opening that they needed. Right now, they're going to go up to Ashe and take a second kill with Genos. This situation is fully unlocked. The Terminus actually respawned onto the previous fight. They're going in, and they're going hard, and they're taking it too low.
Oh my god, just a brutal push there near the end. That is so unfortunate for them. The Terminus tries to revive just to buy a little bit of time, but he just ends up falling. The other tank going down can't replace him there near the end. And the damage, they're just getting outpaced on the side of mixalazeub. The Ashe actually at the top for their team 4-2 right now, but such an extended fight. And by the way, that's just with a Genos, mind you. I mean, they have a little bit of pip healing, but take a look at these pip heal numbers. I promise you, it's not going to be what you think it is. 2,300? That's less than 2 potions thrown out by him, so it doesn't matter. Xenost is healing more than enough with just these marks to keep this going. They're able to sustain for so long. And get this, mixalazeub, no ultimates heading into the next mid-fight.
Yeah, exactly. And for Celestial Esports, they just used it to ultimate into the entire fight. While on the other side, you had the Terminus respawn, you had the Moldamba, fear onto the point itself. So they used everything, and they still lost the fight. So as you can see, there's a total dominance coming up from Celestial Esports. And of course, Pip is not healing as he should, but basically he's doing DPS. As you can see, he's even taking kills. It's just gonna slow people. He does what he does, and it is what it is, man. 58,
You gotta do that sometimes. You just gotta jump off, stop the stagger, right, if you want to fly off there near the end. But the cat time is ending soon. Pekka needs to get close here, and look at Slopadopoulos with his deft hands too. Not a normal buy, but it'll help him keep outputting damage, and the wall will deny this retouch. But another engagement should come out here. Pekka's close, and the rest of the team is ready to pounce.
Indeed, they need to take a nice pick right here, at least to slow them a little bit, because right now they're just taking so many kills onto their side. Willow right now trying to do a little bit of an opposition against the enemy team, but his chick gets shut down so easily because you have many hit scans onto the other side, especially when you take into consideration that Vivian, she's just ready to go. Right now, her focus was against the Ashe one-on-one, but yeah, you saw many times Willow is not able to actually go into the fight because because Vivian is always there trying to dive her out.
Seeing this Shaolin, I kind of understand why they went for it maybe over the Cassie. It seems like a really good control pick into the Maeve, stopping the Prowl mid-dash. And now even catching this Pip too, but no matter how many kills they get, Merlo, this card is still moving. They still have the Vivian playing on top of it.
Indeed, they're still moving, they still got the high ground, but there are no kills to be found right now, because Inara is just immortal. She cannot die with 2 healers on the side, and in general, like, she's playing really well, of course, finding, those tough spots, those nooks and crannies where she can basically regen at full health, given the time. But right now, yeah, no matter how many kills they take, they're always going to go down over and over and over. And right now, you see the trade. Willow did not have to die right here because that's going to be a huge debuff for them. And Terminus, all alone by himself, is going to die pretty easily away from the team.
And Closer actually, look, he sneaks past and they're trying to flank, but Closer just goes behind and kills one on the cart.
Oh, that was so good, and that's going to be a 4-0, another clean win, another clean fights for them. Thanks to the Pip and the ultimate, there was just no response against that.
They just sent too many people on the right side. They saw Otev. They must just be so mad at Otev. Otev must have personally wronged them in the past or something because they sent everybody to fight him. Just Otev, Terminus trying to swing on him from below. Pekka completely abandoning the main area. They try to chase him down. They can't make it happen. Even Shaw has to rotate to get that kill. They find it, sure, but then Klosar gets solo ulted. Gets a solo ult on the objective, gets her to Devosi. No one can make it back in time. Just really good heads-up play by Celestial to find that hole in the defense and abuse it with an off-meta pick like Pip.
I mean, they had all the tools available to them to actually contest and counter this Vivian. Of course, Vivian is super strong right now, but you can still absorb, all the shots that she throws at you if you're a Terminus. And Charlene was always present, and Willow also was doing kills over kills over kills. I think the resource management was a little bit off because, of course, onto the second push, they already have used everything onto the point, and they didn't have nothing basically to contest. But yeah, it comes down to banning Ruckus, but then you have Inara, and Inara is impossible to deal with right now.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think you ban Ruckus, but you have to ban Rom as well because they'll just get that replacement. Taking the Ashe over the Inara, I think, also hurt them a bit. Now, I thought he was doing, just looking at the stat line, I thought he was doing better than that. But 4-11, a tough game for him, I think, under a lot of pressure. From Otev, he slowed him down sometimes, but unable to be stopped, him tying Slopadopoulos in kills with Klosar. Only 2 behind the DPS, so almost a clean 30 kills for them in a 4-0 game. definitely a one-sided affair near the very end of this. And though this is being the final game of EU, it affects the standings too. If you want to take us through that, Marlo.
Yeah, 100%. We see right now that Interstellar is going to be on third place, Yoinkers on first, Clown Fiesta second, Celestial Esports right now doing a great job on getting back on track. Chromaspace, we saw yesterday doing a pretty decent job into getting back, onto those first position. And of course, Mixalazeub with terrible game right
Tough
now.
one.
Yeah, very tough one. Like they had the tools, they had the potential, but it should just down to execution. So yeah, I think and I hope they have like something different to pull off into the next week because they really need to assess the situation and change like strats, change picks, change meta. They need something. And again, I don't see a win scenario. Like it's a lose-lose scenario. You ban Ruckus, you're gonna find everything else. Okay, then let's ban something else. Let's ban Vivian. Fine. So many picks right now are so good since it's a super hit scan meta. You don't really have a counter for that. You just need to have good aim, good positioning, and try to outdo them and outsnipe them in a 1v1 situation.
Yeah, they also played the Terminus into the Vivian in a way that could have countered it, but I think they were just under too much pressure to really make it happen. But a quick one in Europe today, mixalazeub needs to really find their footing and find a way to move forward and show what we saw before the season started. But that's all we have with that going on. Brazil will be on the other side of this break. In Control Nation versus Ignite Gaming. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Flowers that